Welcome back, Barstoolers. Special guest here. Here, Jack. Climbing up on South Street Hill. Welcome back.
We've only got 40 minutes of Zoom time here, so
there you go.
Limited budget.
There he is.
So where were we before the break then? What were we talking about?
Well, so what we were talking about was Dave was doing his little tour of Halifax and Dartmouth and the bars that are no longer here, and you know what's gone. And I don't think people really, I certainly didn't have a grasp until I saw it. So Jack, yeah, fix that, Dave. Jack, maybe talk about that, because you would have been right in the thick of all that.
Well, I saw your little tour, which was amazing because man, there was so much stuff that even I didn't remember. But like I was saying, you could tour Dartmouth, you could tour Portland Street, you could tour, Eastern Passage, you could tour Halifax, you could do the North End, you could do Fairview, you could do Spryfield, Sackville, you could do a tour of Sackville. You didn't have to leave town to play. And back then, a short gig would have been Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Most gigs were Monday to Sunday or Monday to Saturday. So you had your taverns, and at your taverns, you might see one band Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday night, then see another band Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Every tavern had a matinee on Saturday afternoons. So your taverns would close at 12. Alcohol was a little bit cheaper because they had draft. Your lounges and your cabarets didn't have draft. They had bottled beer. Then you'd go to a lounge till 2 o'clock. Most lounges were Monday to Saturday or Tuesday to Saturday. And then your cabarets were Monday to Sunday. And they used to have sometimes Saturday and Sunday matinees. So there was a ton of work. Like just Portland Street. You had the Stern Wheeler on one side of the street, Portland Landing on the other. So if you had two guys that were buds and bands, we'd say, well, I'll tell you what, let's stagger our sets a little bit. We'll go on 15 minutes or a half an hour late, which means when you're on break, you can come see us. And when we're on break, we'll come see you.
Yeah.
But then, like I said, you could go see Oakley or Matt Mingwood, and we're talking big bands, Sam Moon at the Hub. And then you could leave there and you could go see Tequila at the Dartmouth Inn till 2 o'clock. And then you could go to, the Crazy Horse, which before that would have been Lucifer's or Lucille's. Then you could see Titan play until 3, or Razorboy play until 3, or Molly Oliver play until 3. Or you could go across the bridge to the Misty Moon, and you could see George Thorogood, Three Dog Night, Nazareth, April Wine. We were spoiled to death. I feel sorry. I mean, it really sucks that I'm 63 years old, but it's really cool that I grew up in an era of Elvis Presley and the Beatles, and in my 19 to say 32, that bands like Uriah Heep, Mott the Hoople, Meatloaf, Joan Jett played bars that held 1,800 people. Now I'm playing in a bar, and if you got 80 people in there, you're jam-packed. And you're busy.
So when do you think some of that started changing? Because I mean, Dave went around Dartmouth, and I mean, there's we'll call it a trail of dead bodies of what's not around anymore. I mean, the Crazy Horse is a hole in the ground. The Stern Wheeler and Portland Landing are becoming developments. The Moon, I was over there the other day. There's an apartment building on top of it. What do you think it really started to turn where it kind of went the wrong way?
Well, I'm really talkative. I go on rants, and
Rant away, brother.
This might not be a good rant. I blame a lot of things on what's going on, and there are some things that aren't our fault. Um, we worked in smoky bars where we aerobicized, we sweated our butts off, and get to secondhand smoke. So, but when they stopped smoking in bars, everything really, really dropped. And then they made the club owners spend a ton of money to fix those bars so that there was a smoking section. Then they got rid of smoking altogether. They didn't reimburse these bar owners for the tens of thousands of dollars they spent on putting in these games rooms, these smoking rooms, so that you could get everybody in. So that was the beginning of the end. Then, of course, prices started going up. The economy was getting worse. Um, Police were shut, like really cutting down on drinking and driving. And, and there's no one to really blame on that. I mean, God bless, Mothers Against Drunk Driving. God bless health. God bless a lot of things. But these things really cut into our industry. Where my rant starts is that there was so many great musicians, so many great acts. There was big talent agencies. The bar owners really cared about how their bars looked. They looked at promotion. They looked at everything. And all of a sudden, it just seemed that no one cared anymore. We want the best deal we can get. So I can either charge $10 for a really nice martini, or I can charge 50 cents for a flat draft. So I'll charge 50 cents for the flat draft. And for some reason, the people accepted that. So bands stopped spending money on gear. They stopped bringing in big light shows. They stopped spending money on their clothes. They got jobs. They went to work. They left work, came in with their construction boots on, took their hard hat off, put their guitar on, and started what I call a life of prostitution, playing songs that my grandmother wanted to hear. You didn't have 1,000 people anymore spending $50 a night, but you might have had 50 people spending $200. Um, I blame the musicians union. I mean, I've been in it my whole life. 63. I'd really like to know where my pension is. Secondly, there are no agents anymore, really. And your bar owners look back when the newspaper was the size of a magazine in thickness,
Yeah.
and was the size of a 60-inch television, and you went to the middle section and it showed you where all the movies were playing, miniature posters of all the great bands and acts. Don't forget to get your tickets for Celine Dion, who'll be here in 6 months. There's bands that come to the Scotiabank Center. I didn't even know they came. They've come and played and gone. And if it wasn't for social media, there would be nothing for us. And there's bands now that go play a 400-seat or 400 capacity bar, and we go in on a Friday night, there's 20 people there. The bands aren't even inviting their wives or their girlfriends. It's like, what? I don't get it is my expression. My expression is, I don't get it. You're in a band, promote yourself, do the best job you can. It's an opportunity for you, for whether you're doing a 1-hour set or a 3-hour show, to be a superhero. So go into the telephone booth, put on your Superman outfit, and go out and pretend you're somebody else for 3 hours.
That's so well said, Jackie. That's it. That's why we all did it. That's why we all got involved in bands. You could be somebody else. You were on that stage. You're doing something that not everybody else in the world can do. And some words along the way, people stopped caring about that. I don't know if you want to blame musicians, you want to blame bar owners, you want to blame the audience. It's probably a combination of what you said. people stopped coming because maybe they couldn't smoke in there. Maybe drinks got too expensive to try to offset the cost of the smoking equipment in the games room. So the drinks went up in price, so people would drink more at home before they went out, or they wouldn't go to it at all.
Well, I think everybody's to blame. I think we were all spoiled. I mean, think about it. You went to the Crazy Horse. Um, you're going to, say, Monty's to see 400 people see Razorboy. Well, you used to go to the Crazy Horse and see Razorboy open for Meatloaf with 1,800 people there.
Yeah.
All the doormen wore tuxedos and bow ties and were gentlemen, as much as we knew. All the waitresses couldn't dress any sexier. I mean, for those who ever went to Zapata's, I went there strictly to look at the waitresses. And, you know, you got your order right. You can go to a bar today and order a drink that they don't know how to make it. You know, my big drink is the toasted almond. There's 3 ways of making it. I go to a lot of places and no one knows how to make it. You know, so I just find that we come from a spoiled era, and then we got older, life got in the way, and we're sitting here going, geez, I went to see Meatloaf for $12 with Haywire opening and $2.50 for a beer, and being greeted at the door. And now I'm walking in and no one cares if I'm walking in. My French fries are cold. The bathroom's a mess. And the guy that I'm watching on stage that's supposed to be entertaining me is talking to someone on the side of the stage while staring at his iPad or his music stand and staring at his pedals instead of jumping up and down and pretending he's Eddie Van Halen.
Well, I will tell you, Jack, and I remember what you talked about the smoking ban, because I was playing downtown right around when all that was happening. And I remember talking to, I won't name him, but he was one of the more vocal counselors about putting this ban in place. And I asked him point blank, is this about health, or, you know, is it about something else? And he looked at me and he said, when I go downtown, I want to come into a bar or a restaurant and I don't want to smell smoke. And I said, how many times do you come downtown? Well, about once a month. So that's kind of the mindset that started it. And then the next thing you know, those once a monthers, God love them, they're putting their money in. But all the people that are really paying the bills are just deciding, I've had enough. I'm not going to put up with this. And then they leave, and it's a cycle that takes a long time to come back and refill.
Yeah, and the people that went out every night, they were our supporters, because they went out. They had a reason to go out every night. Sunday night was say goodnight to the band. Monday was meet the band. Mm-hmm. Tuesday was cheap night. Wednesday was the dating game. Thursday was ladies' night. That's and right. Friday and Saturday, they were headliners. So there was a reason to go out every night. And like I said, the economy was good and you were allowed to do some. But there was also the people that went, every time I go out once every 3 months, my eyes are burning. They weren't our supporters. And like I said, I'm not complaining about people being healthy, because if there wasn't a smoking ban, I'd probably be dead today. From lung cancer. But we didn't find other ways. And one of my big complaints in my rants is that something like open mic and karaoke and jams went from being a promotion where, we might discover a new talent, a new singer, a new guitar player, a new songwriter, to becoming the entertainment. And the bands weren't the entertainment anymore. You know how much we complained back in the day of the DJs taking so much time. Now bands play in between the DJ sets.
You're right.
Right?
But so, we talked about this today too, Jackie, earlier on the phone, and without getting into too much detail, obviously, because that's kind of crass to talk about. But I know back in our day, and this is 1987, 88, we couldn't work for less than $3,000 a week because of the overhead that we had, the trucks, the lights, the soundmen, the lightmen, the guys that help us load the gear. And it's not because we were lazy. We weren't. We just had a lot of gear, and it took all day to set that stuff up. And it was a big show. We took a lot of pride in it. We worked hard. We developed it. We rehearsed it. It was a show. But it took a lot of time and a lot of money, and we had agents' fees and musicians' union and gas and all that stuff had to be part and parcel of the deal. Do you think people started to kind of undercut each other a little bit? Is that what happened, do you think, too, or no?
Oh, I definitely think people undercut us because, I mean, um, we have a gentleman that worked a bar for pizza slices. I mean, I when I first started doing karaoke, the reason why I started doing karaoke is I didn't play an instrument. If I was a piano player, I'd much rather be in the Holiday Inn, in the piano bar, playing Feelings by Morris Albert. But instead, I said, well, here's a vehicle for me. I thought karaoke would last for 6 months. It's been 30 years. When I first started doing karaoke, I was making like $1,500, $1,750 a night, traveling to Bathurst and Moncton. Today, I am not near that. I'm having a hard time actually making a living. And then I go out there, and here's a good example for you. Billy Bob McLean, or Billy Joe McLean, Port Hawkesbury, phone me, go down and play his bar. And he goes, I heard you're pretty good. I want you to come down. How much would you charge me to do karaoke in Port Hawkesbury? I said, wow, that's a long ways away. I said, accommodations, driving, it's going to cost you about $1,500. To me, that was a deal. His response was, the guy across the street will do it for $250.
Yeah.
I said, well, how come the guy across the street's not doing it for $250? Well, we fired him. So what's your point? I mean, you know, we've got people out there that are doing it that aren't like we spent our whole lives learning our craft. Um, you know, I'll bring up, there's drummers out there that maybe weren't very good back in the late or the early 80s that left and went to Berkeley, Humber, St. FX. These guys spend a lot of money to become who they are and what they're doing. And we made pretty good money back in the day. And then we get here and we're just like, no, you're charging me $500 to do the night. I can get a guy to do it for $250. For some reason, that's okay. And then there's another guy who goes, well, I would have done it for $50, or I would have done it just for the fun of playing. And the next thing you know, you're setting up at, say, the Halifax Ale House. You got a guitar player coming in. He can't make it. He's your regular. He's got a temp. And then you get there, and a guy comes up and shakes your hand, and he's not the temp, and he's going, hi, I'm so-and-so. I'm your guitar player tonight. No rehearsal, no harmonies, no intros, no outros. You're Hollywooding it, what we call Hollywooding it, the whole night. And I think that's damaged us. I think it's damaged us. I like going to see a band. When I go see a band, Steve Lawrence, for example, he played Cheers all the time. You'd go there every week, there'd be a different band. Steve Lawrence was the bass player in every one of those bands. He's a great bass player. He's a great guy. He's a great musician. But every time I went to see a band, he was the bass player. So it was almost like it should have been Steve Lawrence featuring Razorboy, or Steve Lawrence featuring Frequency, or Steve Lawrence featuring Midlife Crisis, So I don't get that. And I think that's why some bands are still going very, very well. For example, our own favorite Haywire. You're going to see the same guys. If you're going, it doesn't matter if you're going to see Alice Cooper and everyone in the band is different, because it's Alice Cooper.
Right.
But if I'm going to go see Rush, it's got to be the same guys.
That's right.
If it's Tom Jones, I don't really care. I mean, it's nice that Michael McDonald's playing keyboards, but I'm going to see Tom Jones. So if it's a band name, I want to see the guys in the band.
So what do you see next, Jack?
Foreigner's a perfect example. They played here last. Great band. They might even be better than the original Foreigner, but it wasn't Foreigner. There wasn't one original guy.
Yes.
Even though the lead singer from Hurricane, who I'm a big fan of, I think can sing, especially today. the foreigner tunes better. It's not who I went to see, you know. So I think when people go to see Sean McKenna play drums, they don't want to see. It doesn't matter whether the guy's better or worse. They don't want to see that guy behind the drum set.
Yeah, that's fair. I think too. Part of what's going on and with people, there's not that lack of knowledge in music and that lack of history and like it's just. And again, it's the American Idol generation, and even some of the older people are, you know, that we know, like, you know, they'll go and see Journey, and that dude in Journey's amazing, the guy that they got. And I remember talking to a friend of mine, well, you know, who cares if it's not Steve Perry? But there's just no, it's not like the way it used to be where you throw a stake in the ground and your band is your band and you're loyal no matter what. That's gone, I think.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that it is, because you know what? Let's take Journey for an example. What upset me the most was Dean wasn't playing drums.
Right.
That's what upset me the most. And what upset me secondly was Journey opened for Journey. So the opening act, which was progressive rock, which was Neil Sean's band. I mean, we just listened to 50 minutes of guitar solos. Jonathan Cain was out there. All the guys in Journey were out there, except for the lead singer. And then Journey comes out and they open with a guitar solo. And I'm going, I just heard Neil Sean solo for the last hour. And as good as their new singer is, it's still not Steve Perry. I still miss Dean not being there. The reasons suck, you know, why he wasn't there. But you know, some people would rather see Steve Perry than see Journey. You know, it's just the way it works.
Yes, who you identify. Well, I'll be honest. If it was Razorboy without Jackie Smith, which is kind of what it was with Chad, it wasn't the same. It really wasn't the same. So it was good that they ended up changing the name to Occasion and Crossroads, because it really wasn't Razorboy. I mean, don't get me wrong, that was, you know, with Irving and Steve and with Tim and with Lee. I mean, those are the players I loved.
Yeah.
But it wasn't you,
Yep.
so it wasn't Razorboy anymore. You know what I mean? I just wanted to touch really quickly, because we're probably going to call her a night here. Now, this has been a great episode tonight. We have a big show coming up too, Sean.
Well, and I just want to, because we might run out of our free tape. We were talking here today. Jack had a great idea, which we'll let him let the cat out of the bag, but we're going to take this show on the road, if you will. And we're going to do a great piece at Monty's. And Jack had a great idea, which, well, you know what, Jack? Why don't you tell everybody what you were thinking on this? We're gonna jump in both feet.
Well, what I thought was it would be a good idea is, like, we're doing the COVID-19 thing. So here we are, you know, miles and miles apart, and I'm looking at there's a lot of places that are closed down. you take a place like Monty's is closed, and it's our major. Believe it or not, it's our Misty Moon of today. It's our Crazy Horse. It's our Palace. It holds 400 people, so we can go in there, a room that holds 400 people, and be completely social distancing from each other. We could be 20 feet apart from each other, and make a presentation of, like, and there's a lot of people out there that probably have a lot of stuff. Eddie Duggan, for example, he's got a ton of memories. I'm a hoarder. I got a ton of posters, pictures, signed T-shirts that we could put out on a display and go in and actually talk about a history of the maritime scene. Here's a poster of Sam Moon when he was with Minglewood. Here's a poster of Minglewood, and we can go through, hey, remember DeBeal? Do you remember these guys? Do you remember those guys? Sitting in our living rooms, we can't do that. I mean, I just showed you a couple of T-shirts over my shoulder, but we can't do that. So I think that would be really cool. And once again, we're doing it in a bar atmosphere. We're safe, and you know, there's a big light show there that will light everything up, and it'll let people know that this is what's waiting for you when you come back. And maybe there's going to be a new norm. I mean, I'm a little skeptical. A lot of people think that when this is over, people are going to rush out. I'm a little skeptical. I think that people are going to be a little shy on returning. and I'm not really to maybe go to a movie or to see a band, but I know things that I do for a living, like karaoke or open mic. I think people are going to think twice about singing in the same microphone
Yeah.
as 30 other people who just did before them. So I think it's going to be slow. So I think it would be a great introduction to what is out there for you. Let's promote the last places that are going to open are going to be the places where we go to party. You know,
Yeah.
construction is going to
It's
open first.
22, right?
That's right. A golf course, you can play golf and stay within you can't you can stay without 50 feet of somebody, right?
You know what? I think a lot of people are going crazy now, Jack. Everyone's at home. And we're all wondering what to do. We're in like an extrovert like me. I'm just going out of my skin because I need to talk to people or do something. Like this is why I'm being careful and safe. But yeah, I can't sit still. I'm going to go and I'm going to walk around the streets and show people a little bit about our history.
Yeah.
I guess at the end of the day, we need to be entertained, whether it be comedy, whether it be a movie, whether it be opera, whether it be watching a band, whether it be dancing to a band. I mean, the world without art is just boring, and you need to be entertained by artists. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that comes back. Maybe it'll be different. You said, the new norm or the new abnormal, whatever it's going to be. People need to go out and be entertained.
Well, what a great opportunity right now for someone who might not consider themselves a very good musician and say they live alone in an apartment. They got a lot of time to practice. When this is over, I see people running. There's going to be some guys that are going to be and girls that are going to be in really good shape when this is over. Now, like myself, I'm going to be in really bad shape because I'm eating myself out of house and home.
But I'll tell you what, bro. I was saying to Dave, man, like I'm practicing every day. I'm coming home after practicing for 2. I get an electric kit in the basement, and I said to Dave and I said some other people, if you're a musician who's gigging, you better friggin' be good when you get out because there's an awful lot of people that are. And if you didn't spend this time trying to get better or at least maintain your chops, you're going to be in trouble when this is over. You really are.
This is a great opportunity to learn and improve. I mean, there's some people that are busy. There's people out there that are working that, they're God love them. You got to thank them for doing what they do, whether it's front line at a hospital or we got to get groceries.
That's right.
And all these jobs are important. My guys were picking up my garbage the other day. They're in the same truck. I thanked them going, man, if you weren't doing this, and the good thing right now is just think where we would be if we never had our TVs, internet, or power right now. It would be the world would be in a bad place. So I think Mother Nature kind of just grabbed us by the kahunas and said, you guys aren't fixing this, so I'm going to fix it. And it's getting fixed. And when we come back, we got to stay safe and we got to do things the right way. And I think one of the right ways of doing stuff as far as my business goes, if you're going to be an entertainer, be an entertainer.
And when we started this whole thing last week when we launched it, this whole Monty's angle that you pitched today, which was fantastic. That's kind of my idea for this whole thing, to educate people about, bring the people that lived it back to put a smile on their face, and the people that didn't, tell them what it was all about. So if you're some dude that played in a band in college and you're playing for $200 at a bar, that's great. But here's the people that actually allowed you to do that because they did the hard work back in the day.
That's
I
right.
really, you nailed something there with the Monty's thing, and it's going to be fun, man.
Yeah, and
So
the other
Jackie,
thing you got to remember.
can say this, Jackie. You can say this, and I've heard you say this a few times today. Because I know you're a humble soul. And again, folks, just let you know, Jackie's one of the nicest gentlemen you're going to find in this business. But quite honestly, if it wasn't for people like you blazing the trail for people like Sean and I, there wouldn't be any industry today. Because the folks that maybe Sean and I inspired would have been like, I guess who came up after us? Shameless came up after us, and those kind of bands that were right after us. So they're still, Sean's still playing. Shameless is still going today. So that without people blazing the trail beforehand, it would have stopped a long time ago. So there's a lot of thanks to be given to folks who went before, and we want to kind of highlight on what's available going forward. Monty's is a great spot because it ties it all in together. It's current. It's as close as you can get to where it was back in the old days. I kind of forgot about Nancy being there too, because Nancy and Bruce together, that combination, it's really epitomizes what the Halifax scene was back in the 80s.
there's a lot of history there, and you know, the Panagiottakis name was very big through the whole thing, and you know, you can't not look at that history, and it's just you know, we're using that venue mainly because of its size and because of the safetiness of being social distancing.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would be nice to later on keep this going, because you guys are being trailblazers too now. We can do this when everything opens up, and do the smaller bars and introduce people to the smaller bars. I mean, Maurice O'Coin is completely reinventing himself.
Yes.
The guy's doing wonders. I'm amazed watching him and Jeff Bonet and people like him out there going, these guys are still doing shows.
Yeah.
And there's no place to play.
Well, in the meantime, we're going to have them on here. Go ahead, Sean.
Well, I'm glad Jack said that last piece, because the Barstools and Bandtalk, I think when it's all over, something at Monty's, a Friday night or a Saturday night, we do something with this. We set it up. We invite folks out. We have some bands, and I don't know, like we can all brainstorm or whatever. But I think it'd be a great way to kick off the other side of this nonsense, because you know, 2020 so far, quite frankly, it sucked. But it's up to us to make it when it's all done, right?
Well,
So
yeah, Nova Scotia's been hit hard 3 times.
Right.
They say it comes in threes. I don't think we can handle anymore. And we still gotta. There's people out there that aren't taking it serious. There's some people that are taking it too serious. There might be people like me in the middle. But you know, I thought when this first started, we'd take 2 or 3 weeks off and we'd be back.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was going to go. And there's people out there that are going, might go on for another 2 years. I don't think so, but
All right, 2-minute mark. What's our final comments, Jack? We want to thank Jackie Smith for coming on the show. Sean and I, again, started this site, 6 days ago. Not really know what we're doing. We still don't really know what we're doing. We're having fun. I think a lot of people are getting some joy and some entertainment out of it. A lot of memories being talked about. Sean, what do you want to say going off?
Well, I mean, I want to thank Jack. I want to thank him for, you know, especially in this segment, a lot of these ideas, because I do think that going to Monty's and doing that, you know, it's really going to be a walkthrough of you know, past, present, and future. Mm-hmm. But I also want to get the idea out there that once all this is done, we do this in a bar, you know, Monty's. We do something. We have some sort of event that's around all this, tie it up on the other side. And I don't think there'd be anybody better to host this than our good friend Jackie Smith.
I don't know. You guys are doing a pretty good job. I think I'd rather watch. But I do like, how do you like my intellectual look? This is
you look very smart. Right, some smart there, buddy.
Glasses on. Instead of I'm doing the grandpa thing. But I love what you guys are doing. I also love what a lot of other people are doing out there with the kitchen parties and the Maritime Musicians Uniting and the history in that. It's so busy that it's hard to follow. But I mean, you know, thank God right now for social media. And I think there's a lot of people that have a lot to say and help out there.
And we have just the form for them right here. So don't forget, Barstools and Bandtalk, the complete maritime bucket list for music.
Right on. Love you, Jack.
Yeah.
We love you, brother. You take care.
Nice rebonding. This is so good, man.
Excellent.
It's about time.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Later.
All right. Stop recording.